Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this Mindfulness and Menopause series, where today is the first session of 4 webinars that we'll be hosting this month. In honor of World Menopause Month, we are so happy to share this with you, where you'll be guided through meditations and explore the many researched benefits of mindfulness that will help navigate your menopause journey with more ease. In this session today, we'll be spending time discovering mindfulness and building a sturdy foundation for growth. My name is Kim Fancher, and I will be your host today. We here at Positive Health are so honored to be able to bring experts in to share some really great information on menopause topics like this one that are important to you. And now I would like to introduce our guest speaker for this amazing mindfulness webinar series. Cheryl Jones is with us, and she is named one of the 12 most powerful women of the mindfulness movement by Mindful Magazine. And she has helped so many people to live a healthier life for 39 years now. Hi, Cheryl. How are you doing today?
Hey Kim, so happy to be here. I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. Excited to see what you got to share with us today and kind of get in that mindset.
That sounds great. I have been looking forward to this. And so maybe we'll just take a few minutes to review some of the objectives for our time together. We'll talk a little bit about the difference between mindfulness and mindfulness meditation. We'll talk about what mindfulness is and how it can help us both long term and short term. We'll actually do a short guided practice and I'll point you to some resources. So let's get started. So I'd just like to invite our listeners to just kind of tune in for a moment to maybe something that you've done today or in the last couple of days to practice self-care. And I think like when we think of that, it's not intended to put pressure on anybody. It's more just the awareness that a lot of times we are doing these small things that maybe are supporting our well-being and maybe not giving ourselves credit for that. So I just like to invite everyone who is here to take a moment to acknowledge some small way that you have practiced self-care either today or in the last couple of days. And when that comes into your awareness, maybe give yourself a hug or an atta girl or just the quiet moment of acknowledgement for that. I always think that it's helpful to start from where we are and to build upon that. So when we talk about mindfulness, it's mindfulness has been very well researched, as you had mentioned, Kim, for the last 20, 30 years. There are thousands of research articles, but I think we're still a little bit confused about what the heck we're actually talking about. So just to do a little bit of level setting here, we all have this innate capacity for awareness. It's part of being a human being. It's just that in our fast-paced culture these days, and even in our upbringing, we really haven't had much opportunity to cultivate this innate capacity that we all possess. I think it's important more now than ever, and especially as you had mentioned, while going through a menopause journey, to really take advantage of this resource that is within us. And so mindfulness is about being awake and aware in the present moment. It's about noticing what's happening within us and around us, and doing this with an attitude of openness and even curiosity. So we're not judging our present moment experience. we're simply noting it as it is without the need to change or fix it, at least for that moment. And this isn't easy to do because the mind doesn't know how to be here now. Usually the mind is very busy. We're thinking thoughts about the future, maybe planning or problem solving and worrying about things that most of the time don't even happen. And so we're rehearsing and projecting into the future, or the mind is busy thinking thoughts about the past. We're replaying an old tape, rehashing a recent conversation or something that happened 10 years ago. So the mind is always doing this future, past thing, and it doesn't know how to be in the present moment. But mindfulness is the practice of training ourselves as to what that feels like within the body and in the mind. And we'll do a practice in just a little bit. So mindfulness meditation is very unique because it's not about imagining that we are floating away in a bubble to our happy place. It's not about visualizing. There isn't a mantra, a phrase that we repeat. It's really about, again, training the brain, training ourselves to stop and to be awake and aware in the present moment. And this is both a practice and a practical skill that we can bring into our lives to experience greater well-being as we're going through menopause, as we are managing any kind of health issue, as we are trying to improve the quality of our relationships, maybe get through the demands of the day with just a little more ease. So there is a practice in mindfulness meditation, but this is something that translates into daily living. So let's try a mindfulness practice. This will just be a short practice, about 5 minutes. So I'd like to invite everyone to bring the body into a purposeful posture. So upright and dignified. The feet are on the floor, so you may need to uncross the legs and maybe scooch a little bit forward on your chair so that you can feel the feet on the ground, and straightening the back, opening the chest and throat for easier breathing, letting the hands rest comfortably in the lap, and then lowering the eyes in a soft gaze, or if you like, you can close your eyes like mine are. So just taking a moment to notice what it feels like to stop. And maybe bring the attention to the feet on the floor, even tracing in your mind's eye the outline of the feet to help bring your attention there. And then bringing your attention up through the legs and into the body, maybe noticing the pressure of the legs on the chair, the support of the chair at the back or at the buttocks. Feeling the hands resting on the legs or in the lap. Noticing any other sensations, maybe pulsation, circulation, warmth, coolness, fullness, hunger, whatever. So as you're tuning into the body in this moment, continuing to bring the awareness to the sensations of breathing. So just starting by noticing that you are breathing. And there's no need to change or manipulate the breath in any way, but maybe noticing the air moving in and out at the nostrils and the upper lip. Maybe feeling the chest and ribs gently expanding and contracting. And possibly feeling the abdomen rise and then sink. So just seeing if you can let your attention settle on the sensations of breathing wherever you feel them most clearly. And as you do this, you may notice that the breath has texture. Maybe the breath is shallow or short or choppy, long, deep, or smooth. There's no correct way to be breathing here. We're simply sitting in this moment, in this space, following the flow of the breath as it moves in and out of the body. And you may notice thoughts going through the mind as you're sitting here. Maybe thoughts about something that happened earlier today or something you need to do later. No need to try to block thoughts out. But if a thought does come into the mind, go ahead and notice it. Notice the thought and then let it go. Release it. And bring the attention back to the breath. Back to home base. Back to being here now. Even if you have the same thought 100 times, continuing to put it through this process. Notice it, let it go, come back to the breath. As we near the end of this practice, let's follow 3 more cycles of breathing, being as present as is possible for each one. And as you feel ready, beginning to transition, and as you do this, knowing that this place of awareness is always available to you because it's within you. So as you are ready, gently allowing the eyes to open again if they were closed, taking a moment to get reacquainted within your space. Noticing how you feel right now. And acknowledging your choice to be here for yourself in this way. Thank you for that practice. So I'd just like to invite you to take a moment to notice what that experience was like for you. Again, no judging here, no correct experience, nothing we're going for, but just speaking from your direct experience and inviting you to complete this sentence. What I noticed was. And would anybody like to share first?
Cheryl, I sometimes when I'm in that practice and you remind us, thoughts come in to kind of push them away. And sometimes I struggle with that.
Yeah, and I think because we don't need to push them away. And this is the difference between mindfulness and concentration meditations. in mindfulness, we're allowing ourselves to notice whatever is happening in the moment. And so if we notice, for example, like you're saying, that the mind is very busy, then the way we slow it down is by not blocking thoughts out. Because if we try to block a thought out, you know what happens. It just gets stronger and takes up more headspace. So we want to teach ourselves the skill of noticing a thought, giving ourselves permission to notice it, then let it go, and then bring the attention back to the breath. That is exactly how we start to lay down new neural pathways in the brain. And that is the first step to managing our stress, is starting to get familiar with what are the thoughts going through my mind, and let me not judge them. I don't need to label it as a good thought, a bad thought. It's just a thought. Get familiar with thoughts and learn how to work with the busy mind can bring us such a great sense of well-being. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. And I think that, there is during that menopause journey, so many people are, having these various symptoms that cause that kind of stress where, this could be so beneficial.
Yeah, and it's that welcoming what is. So even the symptoms, right? Like, even if we don't like what's happening in the moment, it's, can I be with myself as I am? Can I be with my body as it is in this moment, even if I don't like what is happening? Because in that willingness to be with ourselves as we are and accept what is happening in the moment, doesn't mean we're going to stay there and stew with bad feelings or unpleasant symptoms. It's just, that is what informs our self-care. That is how we know and get to know ourselves better and get to know what we need for our wellness in body, mind, and spirit, and our sense of well-being as we're navigating this menopause journey. And one of the biggest components of mindfulness practice, again, that's different from other meditation practices, is that we are befriending the breath. Because when we follow the breath, no breathing technique, but when we're simply willing to follow the breath in and out and just noticing what it feels like to breathe, that awareness is what helps us to get to know ourselves better, to be able to, again, say, what is happening right here, right now? And if we can get ourselves to just stop and, pause and follow the breath for a couple of minutes, and eventually even to 20 minutes is when the real benefits kick in, we can actually shift the body out of a toxic state, out of fight or flight mode, when we have this adrenaline and a cortisol pumping through the bloodstream. We can shift the body from that stressful state back to what we call rest and digest, back to a calmer state where we can see clearly, think clearly, and gather ourselves up to say, okay, what do I need right now? So befriending the breath, which the reason why there's a little picture of an anchor here is because we say that the breath is the anchor to the present moment. Whenever we follow the breath in and out, just simple awareness of breathing, we are connecting the body and the mind. And that is what helps us to get a little calmer. Another differentiator about mindfulness meditation is that there are specific objects of our attention. So as we're sitting there in the short practice that we just did, I was focusing mostly on breathing and thoughts and did a little bit of sensations, but these are the objects of our attention. So we're paying attention to breathing. As I mentioned, we're tuning into what are the thoughts going through my mind. What are the feelings that I'm experiencing? What's happening in my body? What are the physical sensations? We're also tuning into our surroundings and our senses. So what am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I tasting? What am I smelling? What's happening around me? So these are, excuse me, these are specific to cultivating awareness in the present moment of breathing, thoughts, feelings, sensations, and surroundings. So this is unique to mindfulness practice. And I love this quote by Viktor Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor. And he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So how I understand this quote by Viktor Frankl is that when we can shift ourselves to a more calm state, so often we go through life reacting to what's happening around us, and through menopause, reacting to what's the changes that we're experiencing in our bodies. Whose body is this? What is going on? So when we can pause to just give ourselves a little bit of space and grace between what we're noticing and then what we're doing, that space is what he's talking about. The power to choose, for example, what do I need for my self-care? And this is actually quite empowering. So some of the benefits of mindfulness, again, have been widely researched. First and foremost, when we're shifting the body out of fight or flight into rest and digest, we do train ourselves to manage stress and eventually reduce our stress. And we start to learn to work with strong emotions and worrisome thoughts in a skillful manner. We're less reactive, we're less anxious, we have more energy to do the things that we want to be doing to take care of ourselves. And I do believe that when we are experiencing a higher level of self-care, that can give us a sense of purpose. And also we gain some clarity to really determine, how do I want to use my energy? What can I let go of so I am doing the things that are more aligned with my own values? As we start to learn to work with difficult and strong feelings in a skillful manner, we start to feel more resilient, and we're also able to manage whatever's happening in the body, including pain and discomfort. Relationships can cause us a lot of stress. Mindfulness practice helps us to more intentionally show up in our relationships, listen better, articulate better. And a lot of times when we feel foggy going through menopause, I remember thinking, did I just say that? So again, giving ourselves space and grace to pause and really bring our best self forward for the people that we love is also a gift. And being able to see clearly, what do I need to do to create more organization in my life, use my time better. All of these things are gifts that we give ourselves as we're going through our menopause journey. And again, a lot of this, there's a lot here, so we're not expecting all of these things, these benefits every day. But I think having a mindfulness practice has always helped me to notice, like, wow, I really handled that conversation, pretty well, or gee, I didn't react in that situation, or I feel like I have the energy to clean out a closet, so it's just kind of celebrating ourselves along the way and recognizing in the moment when we do experience a benefit of mindfulness. We can also bring awareness, this awakeness and awareness to all the different tasks that we do as we go through the day and all of the different activities. So, for example, when we wake up in the morning, are we grabbing our smartphones and quickly going to social media and scrolling, or are we giving ourselves just a gentle way to get out of bed in the morning? And when we're driving, is it possible to just drive the car and use that as an opportunity to practice noticing our surroundings? When we're eating, can we just stop and tune into the experience and the delight of feeding ourselves? I mentioned conversations. So, can I be present for another person? Can I be present for myself? Can I really say the words that reflect what what is my truth in that moment? Can I listen a little bit better? Can I move my body with a little more acceptance and kindness? And at bedtime, what am I doing before bedtime? Can I give myself a relaxing bedtime routine so I can get a decent night's sleep? So we can bring this awakeness and awareness into the moments of our day so that we feel like we're going through the day with a little more grace and ease. So I would love to point you to some resources that are on my website, Thrive 55 Plus Wellness. There's a page, a freebies page, where you will find a mindfulness practice plan, which I've also shared in the chat here. And you can complete your mindfulness practice plan. I think it's really helpful to kind of think about, prepare ourselves for a change, any change that we want to make in life. So you'll find a worksheet. There are 3 mindfulness recorded meditations. There's a 5-minute that's just simple breath meditation, a 15-minute that's very much focused on helping you tame your monkey mind. The 25-minute is a lying down body check-in meditation where you're bringing your awareness to all the different parts of the body. And so you can start with the 5-minute or try any one that you prefer, but try them all and see what works for you. So I mentioned there's a mindfulness practice plan, and one really helpful thing that you can do to prepare to create a mindfulness meditation practice or to maybe reinvigorate one is to do this plan. And these are the components of the plan. So first of all, what's your why? How do you imagine that your life would be different, that your your menopause journey would be going with a little more ease? Like, how do you think having a mindfulness practice would help you to navigate your menopause journey? And then think about your week. When would be a good time to do this? Is this something that you will do at work or before work or at bedtime? Do you have a special place within your home where you can just carve out a little corner to have some quiet time? Will you maybe join an online meditation class or go to one perhaps in your community? And then what makes sense for you? If you're just beginning out, maybe, as I said, just do the 5-minute breath meditation. And then sometimes people like to tack it on to something that they're already doing. Like if you go out for a walk or you go to the gym or you already have some self-care practice that is already in place, then you could tack on 5 minutes to that. And then think about your week. What days of the week? We all sometimes have days that are busier than others. So on the days that maybe aren't so jam-packed, maybe that's a good place to start. And in terms of resources that you'll use, you'll find tons of resources on YouTube. If we're talking about mindfulness meditation, I would invite you to use my practices. And if you want to learn about some other mindfulness meditation teachers, I would be more than happy to guide you to those resources. So just feel free to reach out. And anytime we're making a change, it's really helpful to have a buddy, somebody else who maybe they are wanting to also create a meditation practice, or maybe it's some other thing that they're doing, but someone that you can just kind of check in and share that you did what you said you were going to do, that you did follow through, and you did your meditation every day for 5 minutes or whatever your goal is going to be. And just it's fun to kind of have a growth partner for the journey. So again, you'll find the practice plan in the chat, and you'll also find it on my website, thrive55pluswellness.com. And what could be a really fun activity is to, once you do have your mindfulness practice plan, that could be something really helpful to share with whoever your support person is going to be. And because it helps to say things out loud. So that's an invitation. And at this point, would just like to open it up for any questions that anybody might have.
I really like, Cheryl, the thought about having that buddy, because it kind of keeps you accountable to, be sure to do that. And if you don't, I sometimes find it helpful to set an alarm each day.
Yeah, absolutely. There's all kinds of ways, as you're saying, to keep ourselves accountable. And it's not so much to someone else, it is accountable to ourselves. If there's some change that we want to make, it really is helpful to have support for the journey. So however you identify how you're going to get support, that's really the point there. So yes, thank you. So I will like to thank everybody for your engagement today, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and we'll turn it back to you, Kim.
Well, thank you, Cheryl, for this great presentation and the practice. I mean, you provided some really great tips on helping us bring that awareness or awakeness during our menopause journeys. And, I really feel like it helps boost my confidence during each and every day to be able to, take that time for myself to, have these little mindfulness breaks. So we hope that you can join us for even more webinars this month here. And we here at Positive Health are leveraging the power of webinars and podcasts to build awareness on many important menopause-related topics. And so I just want to mention what we have coming up, of course, with Cheryl's webinar series this month of October. This was just the first of 4. So we have 3 more to come up in the next few weeks. So be sure to sign up for those. And then also we have Skylar Grissel coming back at the end of the month to do her mindfulness mentor webinar. And that one's going to be focused on reconnecting to the body. And you can find all of these to sign up for at our positivehealth.com/webinar site. So please check that out and enroll. Then on the next slide, we have our podcast series. And this is a monthly series of episodes that we release the first Wednesday of every month. And so the one that we most recently released this month was on herbal medicine. So please listen in on that one and any more that we have coming up here in the coming months. And you can find them all at our positivehealth.com/podcast site, or any of your favorite places that you subscribe, like Amazon and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and iHeartRadio. And then I also want to mention you can become a member of Positive Health if you're not already. We have this wonderful holistic one-stop digital health experience supporting your body and your mind and your spirit during the menopause journey. And it's free until December 31st. If you'd like to join in, go to positivehealth.com/membership. And then finally, I'd like to mention our community that we've created. And we're inviting you to join that menopause journey community where you can laugh and share and bond with other women. And simply by getting involved, send us an email at info@positivehealth.com and join in and see what others are going through and maybe find some resources that are helpful to you. So I believe, Cheryl, that will wrap us up for today. I want to thank you so very much for your time and that nice meditation practice that we had, or mindfulness practice. And I'm sure it is going to be very useful to help me get through the rest of my day.
Thank you so much, Kim, and thank you to everyone. Be well and thrive on.
Thank you. Have a good day.